And that's the great lead-off song from our upcoming guest. The song called All My Time from the self-titled debut. Actually, let me start that over. It wasn't a debut CD?
It's my first solo CD.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just scratch that from the talking.
Okay.
Okay. I'll start up again. And that was the lead-off song from the CD, a self-titled CD from our upcoming artist. She's a great singer, songwriter, producer, and she's used to be out in Minneapolis and was in Prince's original band. But now she's doing great things with her own music, and it's a great pleasure to welcome, all the way from Idaho now, Gayle Chapman. So thanks for coming by the Upper Room with Joe Kelley.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Now, one thing which really brings us into the CD that I was thinking, when you first sent us the CD, the lyrics grab you right off the bat. Right off all of my time. It seems like you write from the heart on a lot of stuff.
I do. A lot of the songs that I wrote are things that were either based on personal involvement or things that I watched other people go through.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a good mixture of both when I write.
Now, how is that when you're bringing other musicians in to convey to other people? How easy is that?
Well, mostly the musicians, they're all friends of mine,
mm-hmm.
which helps.
Right.
And most of them I've had a good background with and working with, so musically I know what they're capable of. And so I really think through ahead of time who I'm going to ask, because I know pretty much what I want, and I know that I can draw what I want from them mm-hmm. musically. So it doesn't have anything to do with any personal issues lyrically as much as in order to accent musically what I want, I know how to draw from those musicians what I want.
And we should make mention that Gayle Chapman's website is gaylechapman.com. You can go there right now. And the CD, is it also available through other outlets besides your own website?
Yes, it's available through cdbaby.com.
Okay.
I really love that organization.
Yeah.
They do so well for people like me.
We don't get a dime from CD Baby, but I don't hear bad things. In fact, no one stopped by the show said anything bad about them. So
Derek Sievers, who's the president of the organization, has done a fabulous job of keeping his business really up front and doing well for the musicians. He's done well for himself in the meantime too, which is good.
And that's must be great that an independent musician like yourself can have channels like that. And we're looking at the CD, and I'm a big guy for liner notes and everything. I got to give you a lot of credit, and I'm sure the musicians are awfully happy you work with, because you gave them nice spotlights here. Tell us about putting together, the presentation of the CD, which is really outstanding with the pictures of yourself too.
Thank you. Well, every other professional layout I've ever seen of artists usually has nothing but various photos of that one artist.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I've even had DJs tell me, or pretty much, I'm making a mistake here. Can we start that question over?
Yeah. You can answer it, I guess.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
I'm starting over.
Okay.
So can you ask me the question again?
Oh, okay. Let me see if I remember it. Yeah, okay, I'll start it out. We really enjoyed looking at the CD liner notes, where you give a big spotlight to the people who worked on the record with. Tell us about putting your pictures, which are great on here, but also including the people you work with.
Thank you. I enjoyed working on that in particular because I had heard from DJs that I'd spoken with, their thoughts were that I should just have pictures of me. And I thought, yeah, and I'd look at all these things, and it's, if you're working for a big record company and they want to promote you, I can understand that. But I feel that a huge part of what made my CD what it is the people that I had work with me on it, because as I say, I handpicked them for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was appropriate to make sure that they got some spotlight, so that there was more than just me on there. I mean, yeah, I had pictures of me, and I've been told there weren't enough, but I can only stand so much of me because I'm me. and I love the people that I work with. So.
Yeah, and I could tell with the comments, and you definitely, if you take the time to read it, get a feel of how the record was put together and some of the people, and definitely got that family atmosphere.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
So a lot of people of our listeners, this is Minneapolis Music Month, know you originally as a keyboardist, but on this record, and you're multi-instrumentalist, but playing the guitar. How did you switch over and guitar being maybe one of your primary instruments?
Well, I started out as a guitar player years ago, and I was playing guitar when I met Prince.
Okay.
But I was also a keyboard player, and that was, I play both. What can I say?
Yeah.
I play both, and I perform solo a lot as a guitar player, and I think one of the reasons that I do that is because it's just easy to pick up a guitar and go. It's not quite as easy to pick up a keyboard and go.
Right.
Because you have to have a lot more equipment. So, when I work in groups, it's not such a big deal. I mean, you have some help then. But if you're performing solo and going places and keeping costs low, then which is a consideration for many of us these days, you want to travel light. So guitars are pretty light.
So one of the songs we should get into right now, which I really dig on the record, is called "Good Irish Girl."
Yeah.
Tell us about writing this and the people who collaborate with you on this song.
Well, let's see. Years ago, I was in a duo called Black Diamond, and we were primarily a folk singer-songwriter duo. And we were commissioned to write some songs for the sesquicentennial celebration of the history of the Oregon Trail.
Okay.
And so we went to the Boise Public Library and did some book reading and came up with ideas for several songs. And two of them we used for this sesquicentennial celebration thing. And the rest of them I just kind of wrote because I wanted to. And I used that one and kept it because I think out of all of them that we did, it was the best. So I kept it and developed it, and I wrote the whole thing. It was one of those things that I didn't really want to contribute anywhere else because I didn't think anybody else for that particular historical celebration would really appreciate. But the story from a people's perspective, on a lifestyle perspective, I thought was extremely interesting, and so I had to pursue it.
So we'll give a listen to it right now. My special guest right now on WVOF and the Upper Room is Gayle Chapman. And please go to our website, GayleChapman.com. Also, the CD is at cdbaby.com. And we'll listen to this right now, come back and speak more with Gayle. It's called Good Irish Girl. The self-titled CD from my special guest today, Gayle Chapman. That's called Good Irish Girl. And now she's based out of Boise, Idaho. But originally you grew up in the Twin City area in Minneapolis. And tell us how you got into music in Minnesota and kind of the progression a little bit till where you are today, music-wise.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, let's see. My mom says I started playing piano and singing little songs when I was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I don't remember any of that, but when I was 9, I do remember my cousin moving in with us, and she brought with her a El Cheapo Mexican guitar of some sort that when she moved out, she left with me, but she did teach me how to play 2 songs. And I think the first song I ever learned was 500 Miles, and the second song I learned was a Joan Baez tune called Dona Dona Dona.
Oh, cool.
Little song about a cow.
Is it in the live repertoire for you and the band?
No, not presently.
Right.
But I might resurrect it because out here in Idaho, I actually play on a train called the Thunder Mountain Line.
Okay.
And and I get to sing for people, and there's usually little kids that like songs like that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll have to think about that.
Right.
But anyway, back to the history. From there, I basically would spend 5 hours a day just playing the guitar because it really captured my attention. Unlike the piano, I took lessons for many years, and when the guitar showed up, I spent most of my days complaining that I had no friends but playing my guitar for 5 hours. And then my mother would take me to psychiatric wards in hospitals and have me perform for the patients because she said it was good for me to do this because no matter what these crazy people did, it developed my ability to play and keep performing.
Okay.
So that's where that began. So then as I got older, I, of course, would sing in bars and bands in bars and trios in bars and the bar scene.
Right.
And then and I actually grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, about 150 miles north of the Twin Cities.
Okay.
And when I moved to Minneapolis, I gave myself a year. My goal was a year. There were two things I wanted to do. I wanted to learn something about the Bible and become a rock star, or at least work for one.
How tough is that to coexist?
It actually worked really well. I found some outfit that would teach me what I wanted to about the Bible, which I got involved with, and then at the same time I met Prince's cousin Charles, and I ended up jamming with him in my house a lot. And then when he finally told me who he was, or that his cousin was Prince, I said, well, I'd like to try out.
Right.
So
now, what kind of tryout? I mean, for back then when Prince, obviously was still young and everything. What's a tryout for a band like that as opposed to, I guess, what would be today?
Well, I don't know. Auditions back then, when Prince was doing it, he was living on France Avenue in Edina, in Minnesota, or Minneapolis, and he had equipment set up in the basement of his home, and people were sitting on the couch waiting to audition, I guess. I don't know if they were girlfriends and boyfriends, but I walked in and there were several people there, and I assumed they were all there for the same thing, or the same reason. And when it was my turn, I went down the basement, and let's see, who was there? André was there on the bass.
Yeah, actually, a quick side note, he was the first guy I ever interviewed in radio, back in '83 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him or seen him since I left years ago.
Yeah, either have I. Yep. Okay, sorry I cut you off.
No, that's fine. So Prince was down there, and he was on guitar. André was on bass, and Bobby Rivkin was on drums. And I can remember going down and feeling awfully excited and in a lot of turmoil at the same time because I had no idea what to expect. And here are these three guys that were looking like they were ready to be awfully critical. and there's the keyboard. So I go down and I sit and I said, well, what do you want to play? And they said, well, we'll just start to jam. And I thought, great, I hate jam sessions. But I didn't say that. I just said, okay. And so they start to play, and I figure out what key they're in and sort of try to keep up. And thought, great, I'm really losing my shirt here. And so when they got done with that, I said, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, if they're going to play this way, then I'll just give them one right back at them. So I said, see if you can keep up with this one. So I started playing something I knew that they obviously didn't know, and they enjoyed it. It was fun. It was good. But I didn't hear from them for like all summer long. I went home that day not knowing whether I'd gotten the job or not. And after a month, I basically forgot about it. And another 2 months went by. So 3 months total went by. And on exactly the day that I had arrived in Minneapolis a year prior, Prince called me and said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. Why? He says, can you make it to practice? I said, sure, what time? And he said, 30 minutes, and I was like 45 minutes away, but I was out the door in 2 minutes with all my gear and made it to practice in half an hour.
Right.
I don't know how, but I did.
You made it. and that you know, then you joined up as a member of the band. How many tours did you do in the early days?
Did I do? Well, in a year and almost in just under 2 years, I think I went on a few trips with him. Mm-hmm. The biggest one I remember was Rick James.
Oh yeah, we definitely miss him. Yeah. Rick
James is hard to forget.
Yeah. And the Rick James tour, you guys are all young musicians, and you know, I'm sure that amazing shows.
They were, and you know, over the years, ever since I put up my website, people have contacted me from all over that have said, I have bootleg tapes of you playing with Prince when you were with Rick James or when you were working with Lenny White, or
right.
And do you want a copy? I'm like, sure. Right. You bet.
Right. How, you know, when you listen back to that, I mean, obviously 20 years, 25 years progress, and you've got your own music and style. When you listen back to your contributions then, what kind of thing is that like, revisiting that or seeing tapes of that?
It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because you listen to something with totally new ears. You're listening to something you did that is so far removed from where I am now.
Right.
And yet it's still a part of me, and it brings back different visuals, but I'm listening to it with completely different ears and a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Now, when you were touring with Prince, keyboard-wise, what kind of parts or assignments of the music did you have, if you remember?
Mostly horn parts.
Okay.
Mostly horn parts and accents, musical accents. Matt was really the major keyboard player. He was phenomenal. He was real fun to work with too.
Yeah, we've had him on the show a couple times, and he's got a studio out in the Twin Cities now himself. Yeah.
Starview.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
looks pretty
Starview
cool.
recording. Yeah, it is cool. I've been to his house.
Oh, okay, great. So you get to go back to Minnesota once in a while?
Yeah, my mom lives in. She lives in a suburb of the Twin Cities.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I get to go back and visit Mom, and when I go back and visit Mom, I've been calling Matt now.
Right. Well, that's great.
He's the only one I've really kept in contact with. Yeah. I've been in brief contact with Des.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to Bobby over the phone for a second, but he didn't seem to care one way or the other if he talked to me or not. And I thought, well, bummer.
Yeah, maybe you caught him on the wrong day or something.
I could have. I think it was the holiday season at the time, and he just sounded swamped.
Right.
And it was too bad, but I hadn't really gotten to talk to him at all, ever. And it would have been nice if he hadn't been so busy.
And Prince, I guess you haven't spoken with him in a while, right?
I haven't spoken with Prince since I left.
Right.
I don't, Prince just doesn't seem like the kind of person who wants to be kept in touch with.
So you talked about leaving, and what was the decision for you to go off in another direction?
My reasons were not many, but they were big enough reasons that it justified my leaving. I thought I was growing, and I needed room to grow, and I was growing musically, and I was not able to do what I wanted to do musically. Plus, Prince's direction, as much as I loved working with Prince, I felt like it was stifling in many ways to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made a very, very hard decision. It was very hard to leave something so fun.
Right. And now, I look back at that time and, digging the music, what you guys are doing, and a lot of people have, progressed. I mean, Prince obviously has made a lot of changes in his music and lifestyle and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
And for
everybody,
a long time, I felt like I was the only one who had grown. In listening, I would occasionally hear what they were doing or see them on TV, and I'd feel like, those guys are still in the same place.
mm-hmm.
They're stuck, and they don't know it. And even though I'm not, a superstar, I'm at least growing, and I'm more self-satisfied than I was when I was working with them.
And
I think personally, for me, I made the right decision, and I didn't have I haven't had the kind of success I thought I wanted. On the other hand, I'm out of debt, and
Right.
I own a home, and life is good.
Right.
I have a boyfriend.
So everything's good.
Life
Yeah.
is good. I have dogs and cats.
Who make an appearance on the record?
Yes.
Yeah. It's on Nights Without You?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Which kind of, tell us how you worked that in. I know, it's a nice lead into the record of that song. How did you figure out to get the Dog Corner Choir in there?
Well, the Dog Corner Choir was just, the song really wasn't about anybody or anything in particular, but it seemed to it could lend itself quite easily to the relationship of a dog with its master. So I thought, why not?
Right.
I've got 6 of them.
Uh-huh.
I'll just let them bark. So what I did was bring in a remote recorder right into my office with the dogs, and I had their little COOKIESs. If I say that word, they'll start barking now.
Oh, okay. They don't want to make an appearance, right?
Well, it'll take me a while to get them to shut up.
Right,
so
right.
But I brought them in here, and I did three tracks with 6 dogs barking.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what you have. You have the sound of 18 barking dogs.
Right.
And what's really weird is every time I put it on and turn it up, they recognize themselves and each other
Uh-huh.
barking over the speakers.
Wow.
And it's hysterical to see their reaction.
So as far as royalties for them, did they work out a good contract with you?
Yeah, they get,
Right.
they get knuckle bones from the grocery store.
Right. So my special guest right now, if you just tuned in, whether on WVOF or our 24-hour separate broadcast, Gayle Chapman, great singer-songwriter out of Boise, Idaho, originally from Minneapolis, and she was in Prince's first band. A lot of our listeners know her from there, but it's a great CD, self-titled CD, Gayle Chapman, and we're going to listen to the song, which is entitled Nights Without You, featuring the Dog Corner Choir, and you have on the back, which is cool, Play It Loud, it's music. And
Yeah.
That's great, listen like that, yeah.
I think it sounds better loud.
Yeah, a lot of records do, yeah. That don't at first sound like, you may not be grooving to it, so.
Yeah.
We'll listen to it right now and come back and speak one more time with Gayle Chapman. And that's another great song from Gayle Chapman's self-titled CD. We heard the song Nights Without You. And right now she's talking with us from Boise, Idaho. And we spoke a little bit about Minnesota and Prince and stuff like that. But that was then, this is now, and that now is what's important. And what was the move out to Idaho, and tell us what you've been doing out there musically? I know you've got some stuff, performances people can gather from your website as well.
Yeah, I need to update a lot of that. I'm pretty lazy about doing my updating for my website.
You're not the only one.
I mean, it doesn't rank real high on the priorities, but I guess it should. On the other hand, what have I been doing? I've been
Well, first, how did you decide to move out to Idaho?
How did I decide to move to Idaho? I was married when I moved to Idaho.
Okay.
And I didn't want to move to Arkansas.
Okay.
And so I opened a map and put my hand over my eyes.
Oh, really?
Not the brightest way to make a decision, but I put my hand over my eyes and put my finger on the map.
Uh-huh.
And it said Pocatello, Idaho. So we moved to Pocatello, Idaho. and we hated it. And we were there for 7 months, and then we moved to Boise.
Okay.
And then we parted ways after 4.5 years, and I've been here ever since.
Now, what's the music scene out in Boise for yourself, and what goes on out there?
There's all kinds of things that go on out here. Everything on the local level to national acts that come through. There's concert houses, there's formal concert halls, there's all kinds of venues out here for any kind of music, and we get it all out here. It's really great. I've gotten to open for people like Leon Russell and John Gorka, and I've gotten to hang out with Alan Paul of the Manhattan Transfer.
Oh, wow.
You just kind of get to know people. I've gotten to know General Rouser, who used to play with Anita Baker and Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I actually am in a group with him now. And but over the years, I've gotten to know almost every musician from every category of music out here, and just worked with them on their projects. And as a teacher, I've helped them professionally with their vocals or song structures, things of that nature.
So I noticed on the website people can take lessons from you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the best thing.
I have a full arsenal of students that I regularly work with, and from very beginners to people about to the intermediate level. When they want to go beyond that and really focus on a specific type of music, I generally send them on to somebody that teaches just that.
Okay.
And there's a number of really qualified people out here, and I've taken time to get to know who they are and who's good at what and where to send them. But when I'm performing, let's see, I perform as a solo.
Okay.
So I get stuffed in the folk box a lot, because when you show up with a guitar and you sing, that's
Right.
what they think you are. They think you're a folk singer. So, and then they find out you're a songwriter too, and then they hear your CD and they go, "Well, that's not folk."
Right.
It can be, but I also, along with doing solo work, I work in a duo with a couple of different guys. I also front a jazz band that works primarily doing the Nat King Cole era stuff.
Okay.
So it's based on the Nat King Cole trio, yet there's a 5-piece, and it's called the Frim Fram 4. I have the most fun of all my groups that I work with them, because they wear their tuxedos and I wear a gown, and we go out and we perform all these tunes, and I just sing. I don't do anything but sing, and it's more fun than I've ever had in a million years. But it's all jazz tunes, old standards. Let's see, the next group I'm working with is, we haven't named it yet, but it's all funk.
Okay.
And it's with my friend General Rouser, who occasionally will bring in his friends from Earth, Wind, and Fire, like the drummer John Parrish.
Oh, yeah, right.
And Morris Pleasure. And Morris Pleasure and I are doing some co-writing. And it's my first experience with co-writing over the internet, which is kind of fun.
Sending the MP3s back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we just finished one called H2O.
Okay.
And it's a tune that it's just wonderfully different. He wrote the music, and I wrote the lyrics and the melody, and sang it. So, and he's got a new record company that I'm going to be working with, called Water Sign Records. So that's kind of it hasn't happened yet, but it's in the works right now. So that's kind of fun and exciting for me. It's a new open door. And at the same time, I'm still working on my second CD and getting the music together for that. And at the same time, like I don't have enough to do.
Right.
I have several students that are songwriters, and what I do is I take them into the studio and I produce their material. So I'm continually working on stuff. It's what I like to do. I like to work on music. I like to be involved that way. And I also hire music for the Western Idaho Fair.
Oh, okay.
So on a local level, so I spend time working on stuff like that. I'm just involved. It's community. It's not national or anything.
Yeah.
The most national thing that's happened is this recently is speaking to you and selling my CD on an international level through CD Baby. It's been wonderful.
But it's got to be a great feeling, playing your own music, writing it, and I guess all these great projects wouldn't have happened if you're touring in a worldwide band at the same time. Yeah.
That never hurts. It never helps. It never hurts, rather, to be involved with anything on a major level, because it's good clout, and you do have access to stuff. But it's part of what you do, and I think for me at this point, I'm getting to a place where I'll be ready to tour again. I mean, I'm working towards that. I want to start touring again, and for a long time I didn't. But for a while I was. When I was in my folk duo, we went all over the place. We went all over the U.S. basically and played. We opened for different acts and hit little halls here and there and played stuff. But we did a majority of our work in the Northwest up here. But after we parted ways, I kind of stuck around here, and I've been able to make a really good living just hanging out, doing this.
Now, go ahead.
But I'm getting to the point where I want to tour again, and I'm getting to that place where I can.
Right, and I'm sure the audience would definitely be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Those doors are opening.
Right. And especially here on the East Coast, I mean, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, those are some spots definitely would love your music in the venues. So.
Well, thank you. I know who I'll set it up with.
Right.
I'll be talking to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll give you. I got the list at home for, venues, and I used to do the concert promotions here, so a lot of people know us through that. So. And I'm always amazed, read comments about Prince such and this, wooing all these ladies, but he's putting on great shows. So, I mean, where's going to find the time to do everything that they're saying he's doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was nice to see. Obviously people, still really are interested in hearing from your music. So that's the best thing.
Well, I just never say die and never quit.
Right.
You got to do what you love.
Right. Right.
It's not always about the money. Money's nice, and money comes. And if you're continually working and putting it out there, there's a market. But you don't know the market until you put it out there.
So our special guest has been, and I really want to thank her because it's an honor to talk to her after all these years. And of course, we've been supporting your CD once we got it here on the Upper Room, and G DeSo as well. So we should go out with a couple tracks from Gayle Chapman's CD. Let's say I wanted to play Shake You Off and seg right into Inner Visions, and hope to meet you soon when you come out and tour.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Yeah.
It's been my pleasure to be here.
So Minnie, I guess this is one of the last interviews in Minneapolis Music Month in March, and transplanted there by Closing the Eyes and putting the finger on the map, right? Out in Boise. Yeah, but you haven't regretted it.
No, I have not regretted it.
So thanks again, Gayle.
Hey, you're welcome, Joe.